So, hi everyone. So this is the Drupal core cross initiatives meeting for January 4th, 2018. We've had the last one about a month ago and decided to skip the holidays and then look at having this meeting again this year. And this is our second meeting of this kind. So what we plan to do on these meetings is to go around and look at what people are working on, primarily with the focus on where we can unblock each other. And I think we've been successful before with unblocking certain things. So I hope that's going to be the case again. And I do have a document that I will make notes that I will share soon. But let's start with, I believe, API first would be the first one anyway.
Okay.
We'll look up the link.
I can keep API first very short. So there's two areas for API first for core. There's core REST and there's JSON API. JSON API is a contrib module, but the goal is to move it into Drupal core. JSON API is not going to make it into core for 8.5. We are going to aim for 8.6, so I can stop talking about JSON API altogether at this point. For core REST, we have made tons of good progress. Important gaps in the capabilities have been fixed in the past month or so, in the past several weeks. Things that have been in progress for a really long time have landed. There's a few more things that are coming up, but we're not blocked on anybody else in particular. There is one issue that overlaps with a workflow initiative that affects both API first and workflow, and I'm sure we'll still be able to land it, but it's a bug, and it affects both 8.4 and 8.5. So I don't think it needs to land before 8.5 alpha. Yeah, I think that's all that we need to say for this meeting. We're not blocked on anybody. More progress to come, and maybe a few more things to land for 8.5. Yeah, that's it.
Is the shared requirement progressing well, or do you need more help there?
It is progressing well, I think. Alex Potts posted a review of it, and I posted an alternative suggestion, which he +1, so now it's a matter of implementing it. I have other priorities right now. If somebody else in the workflow initiative, for example, gets to it, wonderful, I will review it for sure. If they don't, I will be able to work on it in the not too distant future. But since it's a bug, it should be okay to happen, for example, after the alpha of 8.5 is tagged, unless it's hard blocking something that needs to land for 8.5 in workflow. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it is kind of a hard blocker for the workspaces patch.
So can we say the issue number? Which issue is that? Let's look at that.
Wim, do we have it handy? Or?
I was looking it up. It's 2885469. I'm pasting it in chat here.
Where?
But so it's to which things is the blocker, Andre? To the workspaces patch and something else, or only the workspaces patch?
To the workspaces patch. Yes.
Okay, and the plan is still to get workspaces, the new experimental module, into core before 8.5.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I saw your comment, and I agree with that solution. I'll probably implement it.
Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, and you also worked on the patch. So the solution I proposed relates to another issue that you are also pretty active on, I think. So you probably already know that code pretty well. So yeah, perfect. If you have the time, the bandwidth to take it on, I will definitely be able to provide reviews very quickly.
Okay, I'll do that.
Great. So.
Cool. That was our first. Our second was JavaScript.
Hello. Yeah.
I've also added Sally to the invite, and she did not.
Yeah. I figure one of us will make it, depending on who's
Cool.
available. So, yeah, just yesterday we got a long-running half of JS code style cleanup issue in, which was great. That unblocks us from making further progress there on code style fixes. Two things that would be, I mean, amazing to get in for A5 would be the JS messages and the Ajax JS inserts fixes, but those are both still in needs review right now. So that's it for me. I've been out for a while, so I don't have much of an update.
The Ajax insert issue, how close is it?
There's been a good patch for a while, but we've been waiting on issue summary update. So there's a good patch and good tests coverage already. So
can it be RTBC'd?
I mean,
Because
yes, it has been RTBC'd in the past. So the last 2 months ago was the last patch. So
It may or may not still be good enough.
Yeah. I mean,
So do you think that the...
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
Do you think that the issue summary update would help more people look at it, or?
Definitely.
Can you take it on, Alex? Alex. I'm saying Alex because Alex is the one who said he was going to do it, but hasn't gotten around to it 2 months ago. So, Matt, do you think you can do it, or is it an Alex thing?
I think it's an Alex thing, but I mean, I would like it to be an Alex thing.
Can you sync up with Alex to either get him to do it or to gather what he wanted to add to it, and then you can do the physical work, and then I would be happy to RTBC it again.
Yeah, I can do that. That's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, hopefully. It's blocked on Alex for a month or whatever. It's pretty bad.
Over 2 months now, so.
Yeah. Too bad. Okay, so last meeting, we've had a note that product manager participation on the JS meetings would be useful. I don't think we've managed to do that yet. Is that still useful? Do you think it would still be useful to try to organize that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Because I think we jumped on the out of the box and the migrate meetings, but we did not jump on the JS meetings yet. So that's sorry for not following up on that.
We haven't actually had one since the end last week of December. So.
Yeah, well, that would pose still a chance then, but just updated this so that we have it here. Cool. All right. Layouts then would be next on the list.
Sure. Yeah, we have 2 major blockers that are outside of Layout Builder, like other core issues, that are really close. One's RTBC and one's soon to be RTBC. Not really blocked on anything. Not really necessarily sure if we're targeting 8.5 anymore. Just kind of doing all the work, and we're going to look around and see what's done when it's time. Just because it's either all or nothing. If it doesn't happen, it'll get punted to 8.6. And yeah, it doesn't really matter. But we have a bunch of people allocated full-time onto it. So we're just going to keep working.
Okay, so we've had need to be implemented, so need time is probably still the case then. It's same happy place. Cool. Great. We don't have anyone for media somehow. Let's see if that's my fault or not. It's probably my fault. I did not recruit people from media for this meeting. So that's a to-do for me to do that for next time, because that's really sad. So there's various things going on around media. There's a lot of activity from Marcus and Adam and Ben, and some other people are working on all kinds of UX improvements primarily, so the module can be shown in the UI. There's some challenges around, so there's an issue that was really close to add file or to add media types for audio and video, but there were a bunch of relatively small UI problems, like the icons were pretty bad. They were not consistent with the others. The forms would look bad the way that the fields were laid out. So some of those problems, but there was no technology issues there. So it's more like just some fit and finish and get it in, and then we'll have those media types available. And there's a bunch of work going on around the specific integration of image uploads that we discussed on the UX meeting earlier this week, but it's probably in a similar place as layouts, as may or may not make it into 8.5. So there's a lot of balls in the air in the UI department for it to be able to all land in time. It would need a lot of luck for that to happen. So, UI work is going on, and the UI still leaves that are blocking showing the module. No problem. And may help there, but not necessarily. So Lucas said yes for this meeting, but I'm not sure that he's here. He's not here. He did not respond on Slack either. So probably no Migrate representation this time. So the thing I know about Migrate is there's still a virtual sprint planned for next week, 11/12. So that's going to be 1 week from now, basically, to get some final criticals done. LXBot is attending, and several maintainers will attend. There's also been some success around final API changes for the Migrate module, so basically the Migrate API. And there's a proposal now to mark it stable. There's some confusion around some of the modules being proposed. Some patches still being proposed to change the API. So I think there needs to be some discussion there if those are entirely out of question now, so we can mark it stable. But it's practically beta anyway, so if we need to change the API, we need to maintain the API BC either way. So that doesn't really change much if we make it stable or not. We make changes, we need to keep BC. So the maintainers hope that it can be made stable for 8.5. Migrate API itself, and Migrate Drupal still has a whole bunch of stuff around, especially multilingual support, and Migrate Drupal UI has a bunch of issues around the UI displaying misleading information, not having enough pointers to where you can get help, terminology issues, some other things. So there's a few issues there, but those are not very hard to fix. There's been mostly discussions around the misleading information being presented, how to fix that. Still not there. challenge. So last meeting they said they hope to have that stable by end of year, but there's not even an issue to make it stable. So I tried to get more info from Lucas yesterday, but that didn't work. We've got more UX involvement there, and the auditing issue got committed, so a lot of the challenges from last meeting were fixed. So that's great. Okay, out of the box would be the next one.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Probably quite a quick update from me as well. It's going really well. We've you may have noticed that it's lit up a bit on Twitter about the initiative recently. And so we're getting some good feedback. So I think that's probably where when we had the last of these meetings, we were sort of wondering how we go to that stage of getting some patches that can be reviewed, being that we've got a profile and a theme, and what that whole process might look like. So we had some really good help from the core, some of the core maintainers, and we're at that point now where we've got patches released. They're being reviewed, so we're going to keep pushing that, get as much review in as we can. And the other side of it, the profile, was sort of quite a tricky area as well, because obviously we're able to sort of steam on with doing site building and theming. The theme's really close. You know, we've done a lot there. So anything that looks broken right now is probably more trivial than you know, that actually not being fixed. Sorry, not being there. It's really quite mature. And the profile has really come on now as well. We've had some great support come in with development support, and also Laraland's been helping out to sort out how we actually get the content in. So content's coming in on install. We were using migrations, but it was decided that because we were reliant on some custom code in the profile that would bring in that content from the CSVs. That it was preferred that was sort of taken out. We switched to a more traditional hard-coded kind of way of doing it. Sorry, I'm not the developer here, so I'm probably not describing this in quite the right way. But and that's all working. So and I know there's a separate thread that Gareth has started to actually get CSV support around migrations happening in core, because that's something I know that Laraland's expressed an interest in as well. And so right now, probably one of the biggest things we're having to look at, obviously apart from getting ready for a first version for the 15th, is actually how we handle the whole kind of conversation around any warnings. We're getting some really obviously important feedback from others, from other initiatives, Commerce Kickstart being one of them, around the sort of, you know, the issues that might exist because folks want to build their own sites off the demo potentially, which is exactly what we don't want. So there's always been plans to have, you know, really important and prominent warnings, and we're just trying to hammer out how those look and how they work.
Yeah, I've seen some, like Buoyancy already expressed some concerns with the warnings over Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, again, this experimental warning discussion.
Yeah.
So we are not going to support the updating existing sites with the profile anyway, right?
That's my understanding of it. I'm not sure. Yeah.
We don't do that for standard either, so like we're not going to do it.
Yeah, so that's not happening on standard anyway, is it? A standard or minimal?
Yeah.
You install it and away you go. Of course, the problem we have got with that is that if we want the demo to be able to evolve pretty easily, then the theme could break. So yeah, but then that's the whole point. So we might need to think of some way to do some kind of messaging with releases that says, you know, you really need to reinstall because that's why it might be looking wonky. It's meant to be an ephemeral. That's an important update, isn't it, actually, Gabor? That it was agreed that it's an ephemeral theme scenario profile, you know, to get to see how Drupal works and what you can do with it.
Yeah, and then throw it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So last meeting, you've said that you need code reviews, and Laurie is helping out so far. Do you still need more of that, or the Twitter exposure helped getting people in?
It's helped. I mean, I think that definitely the more the merrier. We're getting a lot of reviews at the moment on the the look and feel and functionality in terms of is it looking right? Is it breaking in browsers? And we're getting Larry's support. We've had a couple of other developers chipping in on the code, but certainly I think there's going to need to be a fair bit of review of the code still. So any support we can get there is urgently needed.
Mm-hmm. There's issues with images that the content that people were involved with to fix. So I guess that I've seen screenshots with images. That's probably...
Yep, that's fixed. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Nice. So code reviews, more code reviews, and do you have an issue for the warnings, or is it multiple issues?
I'm gonna have to go and look.
Contentious thing that
the main conversations going on the installation profile install redesign. Sorry, the profile install screen. There's a redesign issue there. I wonder if I can find it.
That would be 2822414, I think. That's the one I found. Here.
2822414. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so we are definitely not doing the whole redesigning thing, but we do make some smaller tweaks. Yeah. So yeah. Makes sense.
So it might be the main initiative. Let me have a look. Yeah, that some of that feedback around just the warning around experimental messaging is also on the main initiative. The main initiative issue, which is 2847582.
2847582. That's what you said. Okay. I looked at this one, the installer one, and it didn't seem to have a lot of contention, but maybe, yeah, maybe I was not, yeah, okay, yeah, I was not. There's a lot of stuff that happened today also. Okay, cool. So I made notes of that. That we can involve the UX team to look at that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For sure. So I have, I did invite PHP Unit to this meeting, people from PHP Unit, but they did not respond to the invite, so maybe used the wrong email or something. We'll see later. But yeah, okay. We're not going to do that one again. So at least fix my earlier mistake of not inviting people. Yeah, settings tray, I did that, but he could not make it either. So I think he's working remote and may not be exactly available. There's a bunch of smaller issues that Sam Mortensen is primarily working on, or not just Sam, but Sam Mortensen is helping out with some of these issues along with Ted around accessibility and some other questions. We ruled out one of the UX issues that used to be a must-have around displaying yet another visual cue that you are in edit mode, even though there were already 2 other visual cues on the page. So we ruled that out in the UX meeting as a superfluous requirement. So that helps. And there's a few remaining issues that need to be solved, and there's hope that it's going to be stable in 8.5 because it also has this line, I believe. So it would be sad if it would not reach that. Mhm. So that's settings tray. And workflows is the last one we have.
So since the last meeting, I think we were basically looking for reviews. And in the meantime, we got a lot of very good reviews, mostly from Daniel, Sam, and Jonathan Hedstrom. All the feedback points were addressed. I think they posted a patch which addressed everything from the reviews. And we also have follow-up issues for what is not, what was not done in the patch. And right now we're still blocked on those two issues, the one that Wim mentioned earlier, and another one which is a small regression in views. It's already RTBC. So
In views.
we're not worried about the blockers too much. And as for the patch, I think it's in a pretty good alpha state. We'll start opening issues for what we consider to be beta blockers for the module. But in the meantime, like always, any review would help. And
So while I was out on vacation, I think you've also reviewed the workspace UI on the usability meeting.
oh yes, yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah.
We got the UI reviews as well. Those were addressed as well.
Very cool.
I have to update the workspace UI review issue with the comments that everything was addressed. I'll do that soon. Yeah, so the conclusion of the UI meeting was that the current user interface is okay for an alpha state. But for a beta state, we need to implement the full UI, the one that Dries showed in his presentations and everything. So that would be a beta blocker, but not an alpha blocker for 8.5. That's what was agreed in the UI UX meeting.
So, out of curiosity, why do you prefer to get it in as an alpha experimental module if you know that there's going to be significant change to the UI and that's going to happen slower in core than in contrib? Is it to get more exposure and get people to use it early and get more feedback about which things need to be, or maybe are broken or need to be clearer, that sort of thing?
Exactly. It's the more exposure part.
Yep. Makes sense.
But my understanding is that it could be made beta still in 8.5, I think. I mean, if it gets in as alpha, in 8.5 alpha, and if we fix all the beta blockers by 8.5 beta, maybe it could be promoted to beta in the same release cycle. I'm not sure, but anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the case.
So I'm not a release manager, so I went to the drupal.org/core/experimental page that documents our current process. And that's the last point in the alpha list. Let me link this in. I'll put it in here as well as the challenges section, probably. So the last point says that if an alpha experimental module does not reach beta stability before the alpha phase of a minor release, it will be left in the new development branch, the next one, or removed from the release branch before the alpha release is tagged.
Right. So it needs to get to
So
beta.
it needs to be beta for it to get the exposure.
Right.
So
We're still doing our best, but
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. See, but if like, so sorry, I was not on that UX meeting because I was on vacation, so I'm not aware of what was actually discussed. But this ultimately up to the release and the product managers, I guess, to agree on whether it could be beta or not.
Mhm.
Are you getting feedback from any of the release/product managers? Yes.
Yes, a lot of feedback from Nat,
Uh-huh.
release manager.
Very cool.
Yeah. Both me and Tim discussed with him thoroughly how the module should work and everything. So he
Mhm.
pretty much knows already the architecture, and then
Mhm.
he commented in the issue and he said that it's high on his review list,
Uh-huh.
but it's for product managers. I'm not sure. Oh, maybe, I mean, Roy is a product manager and he
Yeah, so Roy looked at
joined
it.
the US meeting.
Yeah.
So I think he was speaking as a product manager. I can't say for sure, but yeah, we should be good in that regard.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that would be good to verify with Catch that what he would believe would be for beta state.
Mhm.
Because once it's beta, you also need to have a stable. You need to support backwards compatibility in the API.
Yeah, so
So
the thing is about this module, it's not really, doesn't expose so many APIs. I mean, what
Mhm.
it does is mostly behind the scenes.
Mhm.
Switches revisions on entity loads, basically, and entity queries.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we're not very how to say this concerned about the API of the module
You said
so far.
not have much APIs, but it sounds like it doesn't have any API.
Well, it has some APIs,
Okay.
but not that many.
Okay. But I also forgot about the fact that new experimental modules have to be at least beta level experimental in order for them to be actually shipping in a minor release. Otherwise, they will automatically be moved to the next minor.
Yeah, that was a result of this whole problem with the warnings
Right.
that Keith mentioned, that we provide all of those warnings so people enable stuff anyway, and then we change the API, and then they get angry.
Yep.
But we told them we're going to change the API, but they don't read the warning. So that's why.
But so that does mean that with regards to my earlier question, whether it was about exposure and people giving it a try, that does mean, if I'm understanding this correctly, that if Workspaces is added as alpha experimental, it will not actually ship with 8.5 because it will automatically be moved to 8.6 if it doesn't reach beta in time.
Correct.
And then you're still not getting the extra exposure and people giving it a try as you had hoped. But I think then what's still a benefit about trying to get it in at this point is that at least this portion is already being reviewed and it's not, or there is still a chance for it to get to beta, whereas otherwise there isn't. And more stuff reviewed now helps getting it to that point.
I mean, layouts is the exact same spot where if we don't get it to beta, we don't have it at all.
I have less of a sense about layouts, but that makes sense.
It's the same exact scenario.
Yeah. So so the thing that Catch is involved here heavily, and it's high on his review list, is useful.
Yes.
Because like this is really like the close to the last minute, so we need to, if there's committed involvement from core maintainers, it's kind of crucial to move it. Cool. Okay, so the issue that you blocked is the 2885469, and then the other one is still the one from last week, or not last meeting, but it's not.
It's 2929835.
It's not the one. Okay.
2929835.
9835. Okay.
It's a very small issue. It was already discussed a lot with Lee and Matt and Daniel. We agreed on the final approach. It will just be probably committed sometime soon.
That's the views issue that you said.
Yeah, that is issue.
I'm still loading. Oh yeah, I've seen that one. Yes. Altering the query. Okay. Yeah. It's a fun issue. Yeah, I've seen Touch and the yeah, cool. Okay. And then in the meantime, Ted joined, I think. Hi, Ted.
Hey, sorry, I didn't
Hey.
realize I wasn't muted. And settings tray, we're hopefully getting near the end. We have a couple things as far as stopping it from showing the form on blocks where they have override configuration, and that is this issue I'll put in chat. The issue number is 2919373, and that links to another core issue that is a generalized thing for figuring out if something has overrides. And then we have some accessibility issues we're working on that have to do with the off-canvas dialogue mostly, and contrast, color contrast. And then there's some contextual module accessibility issues that I think have been marked as not must-haves because they're existing problems with the tabbing, but trying to get as far as we can with those issues. This is the main issue. I just put in 2922603 for marking the module as stable. Had a meeting with the UX meeting the other day, and they were okay with not having the message that says click any page element to edit it until after it's stable, because we have a lot of visual cues for that, and we're waiting on the JavaScript messages issue for that. And the only other, I finished the handbook page, and I think the only other thing that we're waiting on, there's a couple issues with RETBC, but I think just the accessibility review, which I'll paste it now. This is the general accessibility review, 2928409. That's it.
Do you have people working on those things, or you would need more people reviews, or?
We have people working probably on the accessibility stuff on the off-canvas dialogue. Anybody who has accessibility or just general CSS, maybe help could be work on that for the patches there. For the contextual module issues, I think they're RTBC. The configuration issue, if anybody, I think that is pretty close to being done, but if anyone wants to look at that one, it's linked from the first issue I put up there. So see if there's, that was pretty much all. I mean, we have people working on it, but if anybody's interested, probably the place to start is that mark settings tray as stable one, which is 2922603, which links to all the rest. And if anybody's watching this, feel free to ping me about it, and I can point them to individual issues also.
Very cool.
I
Yeah, we'll try to publish this as far as possible so that
Okay.
people are aware of what's going on here. All right. So I think that rounds out all the initiatives that we think we have. In case that I/we forgot to invite somebody else or to represent an initiative, then please let me know. It may be the case because we're working on so many things. It's very hard to track sometimes. But it's also great that we are making so much good progress and seem to be involving the right people and the right things. Okay, so in case anyone needs stakeholders involved that you don't have access to, or that I can help in any way to connect you with the right people, then feel free to ping me anytime outside of this meeting, obviously. Because we're not going to have this meeting soon enough for the alpha again, I think. Our normal repeating pattern was 2 weeks. Is it going to be useful to have a meeting right after the alpha or around the alpha release on the 18th? What do you think?
It would be a sad meeting for a lot of us, Mel, probably.
Or maybe it's an exciting meeting because Workspaces is in and we can get it to beta still and layered.
Beta.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe just what we need at that point to get some movement on the things that can get it to beta. So trying to be optimistic here, Tim.
We're balancing each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah, support group.
That's what this is.
So would it be useful to have it? What do you think? No opinions?
I would think yes. I don't know.
Okay, sure. I will keep the invite on then, and we'll try to especially involve the initiatives that I've been unsuccessful to get in this time. Somehow the people from Migrate PHP Unit and Media, Media I did not invite, and the other two initiatives were people were not available, so we can get them in next time and then help them if they have anything to be unblocked, which is usually the case for people. I'm happy to help. Okay, in that case, that we don't need to fill in this hour. So thanks everyone for coming. I will publish this as far and wide as possible. So we'll hopefully get some attention on all the stuff, including them with the meeting notes. And have a great remaining 2 weeks before the alpha.
You too. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.